Thanks for joining me today. My name is Jarrell. I develop games for a living and offer consultancy services at industry level. So Sony recently has posted a job opening here that is listed as Senior Director Multi-Platform and Account Management, and the details of this are particularly interesting. We've seen some people discussing this online, but really what is of note here is the statement regarding a global commercial strategy for PlayStation Studio software titles across all digital platforms beyond PlayStation hardware, including Steam, Epic Games Store, Xbox, Nintendo, and mobile. So this role is accountable for optimizing the profitability, ensuring cross-function alignment, and leading a high-performing team focused on multi-platform expansion. If you're not really taking a very close look and listening hard, that's just a word salad. Basically, it sounds like Sony is looking for a strong leader. This is very important. Over the past few years, Sony's leadership has not exactly been leading in a way that is looking forward to the future, but more towards following and chasing trends and becoming a slave to trends that have been set by others. So I personally would like to see Sony succeed. I have been a Sony PlayStation fan since the first PlayStation, so I personally would like to see Sony pull itself out of this kind of tailspin that it's in of making decisions that aren't necessarily great for the long-term brand. Now, it sounds like the direction that Sony wants to move in is to bring games that were previously PlayStation exclusive and bring those to other platforms as well. And that may seem like it's a good idea for short-term profit, but long-term profit and long-term brand development and management is not going to be so great. So I just want to offer a little bit of counsel here pro bono. Now, I'm not applying for this position. I actually am near San Mateo, where this position is listed at the moment, but currently I'm traveling around California. This week I'm traveling around to saloons and tuning and repairing pianos. When you go to saloons and bars throughout the country in mountain areas, you tend to find pianos from the late 1800s, early 1900s. That's my specialty when it comes to instrument repair. So I'm just going around tuning pianos. So I'm not applying for this position at Sony, even though it says remote work. Okay, my hands are full. I'm getting back to my studio in a couple of weeks anyway. So that's not where I'm approaching this from. I just want to offer some counsel in this situation. So what would really benefit Sony is to stop following trends and to step away from this fascination with live service games, with projects that have absurdly high budgets that are trying to be these grand epic experiences that take a very long time to develop and to complete and to ship, that have huge budgets. What would be an ideal strategy for Sony right now is to focus on smaller and medium-sized experiences. Take a look at the IP which Sony has access to and develop titles in those IP that are medium-sized experiences that can be developed in a highly efficient manner. What you require, Sony, are very strong project leaders who can ship a title in a very short amount of time, leading an experienced and competent team. What you're looking for in the situation, in the grand scheme of things, is profitability, scalability, and sustainability. PSS. Now, profitability is pretty obvious, but sustainability has nothing to do with the environment or anything like that. Sustainability is, can you keep up this production? Can you keep going with this? How difficult, how likely is it that you can sustain this effort? And of course, scalability, you start small, you move your way up with projects. Can you increase the scale of your production based on your logical functions and your approach that you're taking? So those three aspects are very important to consider. Again, profitability, scalability, sustainability, PSS, that's what you're looking for. The staffing that you have for your development studios internally, your leadership, absolutely. You need to focus on competence, workplace suitability, and experience. You really need to make sure that your teams can work efficiently. Now, when you are developing your IP, you can even run polls online. Your paying customers, your fans of many years will tell you what they want. Run polls, say, hey, these are the IP we have access to. What would you like to see? If you don't waste your time bringing in other studios and other IP at this moment, would be your best move would be, what do you have? What is in your arsenal? What do you already have access to that you can start on immediately? Have strong creative directors that can within moments bring you a vision and say, this is a vision for an existing IP. This is where you can move it to where you can give people something fresh and exciting. It's something they want to play. Here's a vision for that product. Your creative directors need to be able to bring that into reality. Can they lead a team? Can they do that? How efficiently, how quickly can they do that? Can they do that to spec, within budget? Those are the people that you need leading projects. You need someone at the top who can see the future, who can bring your company, your brand, your business to that point in the future. You do not need trend chasers right now. That's not been a great result for you so far. Now, in terms of bringing your Sony IP, your Sony brand to other platforms, there is a real risk there. Obviously, you will see short-term benefits, but the risk is that you diminish the strength of your brand by saying, oh, why would you get it on PlayStation when you can get it on Nintendo or Xbox or mobile instead? So a solution to this, a potential approach that you can take in this situation, is to have strong IP. Let's say you have an IP called Gun Whip Wizards. It's wizards that use whips that have guns at the end. I just made that off at the top of my head. That's not an IP that you have. It's not something that exists. Gun Whip Wizards. Okay, this is a brand new Sony IP. Okay, however the gameplay style is, you Gun Whip Wizards. The best approach you can take is to have the biggest, strongest experience for that exclusive to your Sony platforms, your PlayStation 5, your PlayStation Vita 2, whatever approach you're going to take, the big, strong, full version of that experience is exclusive to PlayStation, but you want to branch out to other platforms. Then you will create supplementary titles. So supplementary titles would be Gun Whip Wizards EX Dungeon. This is a smaller experience that's a little bit more casual, more lightweight, more focused, but it brings the IP of Gun Whip Wizards to other platforms. It introduces people to Gun Whip Wizards because you can say, look, this is a Sony IP. You can experience it a little bit here. So people who have Xbox, who have Nintendo, who have mobile, can play Gun Whip Wizards EX Dungeon, and they say, whoa, you know what, I'm kind of liking this, I really like the IP, and then they can see, oh, but there's the full experience of Gun Whip Wizards on PlayStation 5, it's exclusive to PlayStation 5. That is a way to expand your brand, to introduce your IP to new audiences, and to bring customers into your ecosystem. That is the approach that you want to take long term. That's sustainable business, rather than watering down your brand and saying all this stuff that was previously Sony PlayStation exclusive, you can now play that anywhere else. That's going to damage your brand long term. It's going to have very negative results for you over the long term. So those are the points that I wanted to share with you today as an industry consultant. I hope this has given you some things to consider, and I hope this has been useful to you. I'm not particularly sided with any one particular brand. I'm not biased for or against any particular manufacturer, Nintendo, Sony, Xbox. I would like to see all three of these succeed. It's good to have healthy competition in the market, and it would be very bad if any one of these industry leaders dropped out of the game. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you for spending time with me. I hope this has been useful to you. I don't generally put my contact information online. If you're at Sony, if you ask around the internet, you may be able to get my contact details if you ask around the industry. So thanks very much for spending some time with me. Good luck. Looks like you've got a lot of work on your hands. Whoever fills this position, I hope they do well. It says they do remote work. Good luck to you. I've passed through San Mateo a couple times the past couple weeks. Okay, So I've just stopped in some rural areas to record this video. I've got to head back up. There are some saloons that I'll be tuning pianos for the next week or two. Take care, everyone. I'll see you around.